the election in which the individual to be recalled was elected. Simple. The signer of a petition, of a recall petition, must have voted in the election of the person that they seek to recall. Period.
I think this is important, as the mayor stated, it puts the decision ultimately in the hands of the citizens of Cleveland, whom have given countless calls as in regards to the recalls and all the recall petitions that are in full. So this gives them the opportunity to weigh in on this and to do something about it.
That's what
Right? So it's not council making any decision at all. So I sponsor it.
And
So ultimately what you're saying is that this is,
I see there's an issue of disenfranchising. When this was put in, like people knew what they were doing, it's put in for a reason. Everyone has the right to vote. They're saying if you didn't sign a petition, you don't get to no. Our democracy doesn't function. Our democracy gives everyone the chance to vote.
Yes.
Okay. For an example, this last recall election, out of a possible 3,800 voters in Ward 3, only 229 people voted.
wow.
But the other people had the option to vote. So you never take away that option. Never. Totally opposed to it. Thank you.
You don't have that authority to do that.
Is my turn here? I'll go another way with it. I think it was Gladys and a few others that said, supposing I wasn't here at that particular time, that the time came up for the voting. I wasn't here. Okay, so I go because there's something that took place in my ward or under the individual that I'm recalling, and I signed the petition. I don't get to vote, get to sign it, because I didn't vote in the last election. Now, I'm going to also give you an example, and it just happened in the Republican primary, where there was an area state that wasn't allowed to vote because of certain circumstances, and they weren't allowed because of the circumstances that came up. They were really upset because they wanted to vote for a particular candidate. And regardless of what we think about the candidate that they wanted to vote for, they didn't get the opportunity to do it because on the books, like this, it said, if you da-da-da-da-da, you cannot vote. Cannot even register to vote. So I'm saying this, and we've had other recalls. And talking about East Cleveland having 2 recalls, Cleveland has tried to recall Mayor Jackson 3 consecutive times. They got more people signing those petitions and bringing in the petitions, and it's failed. But not once have they brought in an ordinance like this. I think it is unfair to even deal with this as a recall, because it's based on one area. So I don't know what their problems was, and I'm not trying to guess, and I'm not elaborating on what it was, because it's not my intention at this time to deal with it. But it is my intention to say that I don't feel that you're putting it before the residents. You're putting it before the residents, but all residents have not expressed any problem with what happened. I haven't heard not somebody beating down this door, making a line out there on Euclid, trying to get in here to say, I want you to put in this kind of ordinance or whatever.
Okay.
Okay?
Graham, you have to
Yeah, as far as this legislation, I do feel as though that the recall procedure, the way that it's been handled, I do feel that there's somewhat utilizing it, the way that it was meant, it has been utilized not in the manner that it was meant. With that being said though, everyone does have a right to vote. This doesn't take away their right to vote. This is ultimately, it'll go on the ballot and the yays can either win or the nays can either win. So this is not a change in the charter unless the people of East Cleveland decide for it to be a change. Unlike you, contrary to you, I've heard a lot of disfaction as far as the amount of recalls that Councilman Wheeler has faced. Whether I agree with them being recalled or not, we spent upwards of $30,000 total, and we're still in the 7th month of this year. Whatever the rationale behind it, however you feel about it, when we talk about, the vote, and that's when people speak, that's what it is. So presenting this legislation, I don't necessarily think that there may be other ways to amend the recall procedure. This legislation speaks to one aspect of it. It's going to ultimately come on the ballot for the residents of East Cleveland to decide if they want to change it. So there are people that are for this, there are people that are not. That's the democratic process. Whether you agree with the legislation or not, ultimately the city, the people will decide if it goes through. So I'm okay with putting it on the ballot for the people to decide. As long as this is not something that we're voting on and saying this is what's etched in stone. That's not the case. We're actually allowing the people to decide. So I have no problem with that.
Mayor, you got something you want to put on?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. My role here is not to try and sway any member of the council or tell me what to do. I would like to provide two pieces of information that I should have provided at the beginning. First is, there was a statement made that someone who comes after an election has been held is not able to sign a recall petition because they didn't vote in that election. That's not true. A person who moves into East Cleveland, who is new to the community, who happened to have voted in that same time frame, that same election, even though it might have been on different issues, as long as they voted, no matter where they lived in the state of Ohio, as long as they voted at that time, they would be eligible to sign a petition. It's those who didn't participate at all in that election that are not allowed to sign it under this provision. Secondly, there was reference made to the city of Cleveland. Council, the city of Cleveland actually has this provision in its charter. In order to sign a recall petition in the city of Cleveland, the individual